Hello and welcome to the Revived podcast, where we're here to help guide you to a legacy that matters. That's new, isn't it? See, recently over this last not too long, I've really been doing a lot of thinking because we're launching our book here in the new year, Guiding Dads from First Steps to Lasting Legacy. The book is called Reviving Fatherhood. And I'm like, okay, so that's where we're starting, kind of with this niche with dads. But how do I translate this to a larger audience? Because everything that we teach here isn't just for guys and dads and stuff. It's for single people, it's for girls, it's for men, it's for boys, it's for women, it's for everybody in between. And so we kind of rebranded our website a little bit with the theme, guiding you to a legacy that matters. Because, like, your legacy does matter. And as I got to be thinking about it, though, it was kind of interesting. So before I always get ahead of myself, but that's kind of fun. The way that we define legacy here, or how you do that, is through two words: reclaim and redefine. So we still are sticking with that theme. Is in order to have a revived life, you have to reclaim your identity as a son or daughter of God and believe in Him and the story of redemption. And then once you do that, we're given a set of like how to now live your life as a disciple of Christ. And that's where you have to redefine your culture, redefine the way that you live. And so doing those things, you will leave a legacy that matters to the next generation. But I was thinking about this to jump on what I was saying a second ago. It kind of sounds a little bit selfish, doesn't it, to say I'm going to live a certain way so that I can leave a legacy. So I'm going to believe in God and live a certain way so I can leave a legacy. And that is inaccurate. I was like, maybe I shouldn't call it this. But then I was thinking, I'm like, okay, well, don't have the legacy as your end goal. It's just a byproduct of following Jesus. And you see, you think of all these people who left the greatest impacts in the world. I think most of them were probably Christians, because you think of the people who had negative legacies, and it's just like, wow, there's just a lot of hate, bitterness, pride, everything in between. And then you look at all the people who, like Billy Graham, Mother Teresa, all these people, it's just like, wow, they just loved, cared, shared, poured out. They did things opposite of what the world says. And that's what Jesus teaches. He teaches us to live the way that the world was originally designed with God. And now that He came back, we can be reconnected together with Him. And so you live that way, and you just happen to leave a legacy. But the cool thing is, when you die, we on earth say, hey, you left a legacy. But you continue on for forever. Your soul continues on for forever, into eternity. And so what we call a legacy is just really the starting point for eternity about who you are becoming in that journey. And so guiding you to a legacy that matters is more for one, it's just like kind of just draw you in about like what is Revived really about? It's about living long term. That's really what it is. But like guiding you to living long term, that doesn't really have a good ring to it now, does it? No, guiding you to a legacy that matters. And the truth of God's word right here, if you're watching, I'm holding it up, is the way that we can live that way and leave a legacy that matters. And so if you've been with us for a little while, we've been going through the book of Luke and working through the Sermon on the Mount and really just finding and honing in on the tools and not really the tools. What Jesus teaches is like, here's the baseline. Luke grabs the whole Sermon on the Mount. He goes and does his eyewitness testimonies, and he's like, here is what everyone needs from the Sermon on the Mount. This is how you live in the kingdom. You got to love your enemies. You got to not judge or condemn with a critical spirit. You have to forgive and be generous to like the fullest extent that you possibly can. All the time. Everybody. And that is an impossible task. So that's why Jesus gives the Holy Spirit inside of us so that we can do that. I fail all the time. I failed today. I'm texting about hating certain things, and I'm like, wow, it is so easy just to hate or to judge and to just not forgive or be generous. I'd say of all of those, financial generosity is probably the one that comes easiest. It's going to be like, oh, you need $5? Here you go. Here's $5. When it comes to like, oh, you hurt me, I'm a little bit slower. Like, hey, give me back that forgiveness. I don't want to give you that. And when it comes to judging, I think that is the one that's most subconscious. See, I think we realize a lot of people say things, and then we don't realize that we're like, I hate that person. You're like, okay, I don't hate them, but I really go out of my way to avoid them because I now hate them. And we discovered this in one of our episodes, and we worked through it about discernment is different. See, you can discern what someone says, and that is wisdom to do that because you want to know if you should be taking advice from this person or not. And if what they're saying doesn't line up with God's word, in life, then it's okay to take their opinions and stuff and say, hey, it's not for me. But we can't now then pass judgment onto that person and be like, you are like this. Because isn't that where all of our problems come from? You know, you think back to 2020 and the Black Lives Matter movement, and then we have all these polarized people with left and the right and the colors and not colors and rich and the poor and all these diverse groups and everything. And all these people are like hating each other, basically. I think just 2020, everything was just very heightened. And so that's why I gave all those examples there. And it's a lot of judgment, isn't it? So imagine now you take that judgment and then you say, love your enemies. And so if you're judging people to the point of enemy, then Jesus says, well, love them. And love them is not just like, oh, I'll give you a hug and let's tolerate you. No, it is pursuing them. Serving and sacrifice, pursuit with serving and sacrificing for that person. And I don't think that describes many of our lives in the way we treat our enemies or the way we talk about people even. See, this sermon really is a deep conviction. And honestly, I don't even know if we need to go into Matthew because there's enough material here to say, hey, this is life-changing enough if we can get this down. But I want to be able to go into more information and read about that some more and figure out what to do in Matthew. But there's just so much to unpack every single time. So today we're going to go ahead and open the Bible, and we're going to go to the last little part of Luke, solid foundation, and that's the part we haven't talked about yet. So if you have your Bibles, you can open it up with me. Unfortunately, I don't have really any entertaining stories for you right now. I feel like a lot of people when they talk, they're like, hey, I got my story up front, I got my content in the middle, then I got my breakdown, and I got my nice summary. Here at the Revive Podcast, we really just shoot for it. Because I got 20 minutes. I shoot 20 minutes because I want to make sure that it's not too long, that people get like bored. Like the Joe Rogan podcast takes like 10 hours to listen to. And that's great. There's a lot there, but like which part's important? I'm like, I got 20 minutes and I'm just going to share straight up everything I got real fast. And I might change that as time goes on because I think stories are a really good way to draw in and to relate. And I do that when I can, but hey, this is what we got. This is the Revive Podcast where we just go for it. All right. Nope, not John 8. Get that bookmark out of here. Oh, John 3. Anyway, how are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. I hope that the holidays have been good to you. And, oh, big news. Okay, if you go to the revivebrand.com/store, I'm selling my stuff. I'm selling like sweatshirts, long sleeves, t-shirts, everything for him and for her, pullovers, you name it. I'm selling stuff on my store. And right now it is free shipping. I'm giving you guys free shipping. I'm paying for your shipping. Can you believe it? Yes. And so go order stuff, and I'm going to probably run a promo about ordering things. And if you buy something or if you share about it and someone buys something, like you'll get free stuff. I got to figure out a way to do it because like who doesn't want free stuff? It's always great. And also too, I did go through and I'm like, I'm not going to just get this sweatshirt because it's the cheapest one. It's like, cool, it's $10 and I can sell it for 15. No. I went more high end because we like to wear comfy clothes as humans. And so you're not going to want to wear something you don't like. So I do the things that are on the store are a little bit more pricey than normal, but that's because I prefer quality over, I don't know, quantity or cheapness. And so I want you to look good. I want you to feel good. My designs are just very simple. It's mostly just a logo right now. A couple of revived backsplash stuff. If you order something with front and the back, those are just really expensive. Those are like our special signature edition stuff because it costs a lot apparently to get front and back stuff. So most of it I try just to do one side, keep the prices as low as possible. But you guys are buying quality clothing and quality apparel. I got some name brand stuff like Under Armour and Columbia on there as well. So that is new. So head over there and check that out. Also, too, because it's the new year, I am going to finally start getting podcast interviewers going. Like the holidays, I was like, you know what, we're gonna push this out. No sense doing this through the holidays. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got stuff going on. But now it's the New Year's. It's like, hey, what are you doing until February? I don't know. What are you doing until February? And so we're going to get those on here. I already have 3 people that we're going to start up front with. And then I know I got at least 5+ more that we can continue on. But if you're interested in sharing your story about how you like have like your revived life, like reclaimed and redefined, and where you're going with your life, and just kind of you just want to share your testimony and you want to actually have that captured for real, I am working on a way to like guide us with questions to share your testimony. So now, honestly, you can just say, hey, you want to hear my testimony? Here, go to this episode on this podcast And I honestly would love to just give you that MP3 and you take it with you, but it'll also be online for other people to hear, because the power of telling someone's testimony can just change lives. And I want to make sure that I do a really good job in kind of capture that for you as well. I apologize to the first couple people that get on, because there's always growing pains. There's growing pains in every podcast and every episode of everything in between. But I know that it'll still be really good, and we'll get somewhere together. All right, I think that's it for promo stuff. And so, yeah, head over to revivebrand.com. Guys, we got so much coming. This is the year. Oh, see, now the guys got me going. You got me going. All right, so this is really cool. This is a God thing here. So back in 2024, this time last year, I had like 6 chapters of a book written, 7 chapters maybe, of a rough draft, working through just like actually typing it all out. You know what? Here we go. Bookmark. Bible? Bookmark. Put it down right now. See, we'll probably get to it, but I got to fill you guys in. So speaking of testimony, this is like a little bit of testimony here at Revived. Whew, where was I? Okay, so back in 2024, I had about in January 2024, 6 or 7 chapters written of the book. And I was like, you know what? Let's get this going. So I started writing. I had some calls with the companies of just like, who am I going to publish with? What am I going to do? And I finally landed on the self-publishing school that I'm going through, because they teach you how to do it. They're a school, and it's an investment like college, but 10 times better, because these people nailed down the methodology of launching a book on your own. And I'll see what goes from here, but I love this. It's like, it's all, anyway. Side note. And so this is now we get into the springtime, and it's like, cool. Okay, now I'm going to really, let's see, I think it was June. I'm like, I'm going to sign this contract. I'm going to pay them, and we're going to go all out. And honestly, I just threw that on a credit card, of the thousands of dollars that it was on a credit card, because I'm like, hey, I don't have the cash in hand to do this right now, but it's an investment, and it's going to be a business, so let's just go for it. And that's completely anti how we run finances, just slapping something on a credit card like that. And so I'm like, God, I'm trusting you with this one. Boom, we're going for it. And it's just kind of a weird kind of way that God's like, can you trust me with this? I don't know if God asks us to trust him with debt. Whole different conversation, but anyway. And so continuing on, next thing I know, I'm official. Like, we officialize ourselves as a company. We get a website. We start writing the book. We get it edited. We get it proofread. We get the store set up online. The book is fully written. Wow, there's just so much that happens. We got the podcast going. We got people listening. We got people sharing. We got apparel coming out. And all this stuff, all this happens in 1 year. So now in 2025, like, we can now start selling the book to change lives for dads. We're going to start a clothing line for the Reviving Fatherhood book. And so if you read the book and you want to support it with like a shirt or something to start the conversation with that other guy, we'll have those out. We have just normal Revived stuff. We have a Revived company guiding you to a legacy that matters. We have the dad tab. That's kind of fun. The dad tab, where it's just like guiding dads to a legacy that matters. And how do you do it as a dad? And we got that on the website. We got apparel coming out. We're selling things. We're moving forward. So 2024 was like the year of set a foundation. Set yourself up. Speaking of solid foundation, hey, right there, build good foundations. And so setting ourselves up, and then 2025 is going to be a year of launch. And so what does 2026 have? See, maybe I started off this episode of just like, hey, we're going to read through here, build a solid foundation, and that's really good. Honestly, we probably should. Okay, I got like a couple more minutes because I got actually another meeting to hop onto here. It's the weekend, and so if you are at my place of work and you're wondering when I shot this thing, honestly, it was on the weekend. And so don't worry, I just have a call with somebody. So, okay. All right, let's go over to number 6. This is a great way to start the new year, about this foundation. So what foundation are you going to set for yourself this year? See, last year, like us at Revived, we had half a book. A year later, we have a business. So what is possible in 1 year? Sky's the limit. And guess what? I only did a little bit a day. I had a full-time job. I couldn't ignore the full-time job. My family, a new baby coming, wife, kids, all that stuff. But guess what? I did a little bit, like a half hour to an hour a day. Did not do anything on the weekends because the weekends are for rest. And guess what? It still works. Just the power of a little bit at a time. So speaking of building foundations. So this is spiritually, but it can apply to a lot of things. So why do you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do the things I say? Like, why don't you obey? I will show you what someone is like who comes to me and hears my words and acts on them. He is like a man building his house who dug down deep and laid the foundation on rock. When the flood came, the river crashed against that house and it couldn't shake it because it was built well. But the one who hears these words and does not act it is like a man who built his house on ground without a foundation. The river crashed against it and immediately collapsed, and the destruction of that house was great. Jesus is talking about when you love your like if you don't love your enemies, and if you judge people and condemn people, and you don't forgive and you're not generous, you're like that man who just heard his words and didn't do anything about it. And when life gets thrown at you, like it will, everything falls apart. But if you're like that person who hears the words and obeys the words, it's like building a deep, solid foundation. And that's what Jesus is getting at there. That's the heart of getting at. It's obedience. But now think about the solid foundation and think about like this new year and like apply the words of Jesus, like obey what he teaches. And imagine what 1 year will be like with your character development. Just think about that, about you really ask God for strength to love your enemies, to not judge people, to forgive, and to be generous. Think about now, 1 year from now, how your life will be different, your relationships in your life, how those will be different, how everything will be different. And let that motivate you for next year, because you're building a solid foundation. And so then think about all the things that might happen this year, and with your focus being on Jesus, how that can change your life. So you can apply this and say, hey, let me build a solid foundation. Let me get my business really good going with a solid foundation. You can say, let me build that new building, my new cabin, whatever it is. But it's all going to have a solid foundation. And so here at Revived, it's like your legacy starts with a foundation and roots dig down deep. And so when you are applying Jesus' words, it's like you're digging down deep into the ground and you're planting these posts, these foundations deep down. And that is where it's going to be really impactful, is because now it's like anything comes against will shake, move, change everything around, and you're not going nowhere. But that's a year from now. What can you do tomorrow? What can you do a month from now? What can you do 6 months from now? Write down little checkpoints. I think I want to release some kind of guide or some way to help everybody kind of keep track of everything throughout the year. I actually had some conversations about doing like some kind of like little challenge thing, and my background is IT, so I might make an app to do something. I don't know. My brain can just go 1,000 different ways to try to do 1,000 different things, but I just got to stay focused one thing at a time. But think about if you applied, okay, today I'm going to love one enemy better. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to be generous to one person, one time today. And ask God the strength to do that. And you do it. And then you say, I'm going to do it twice to the same person. I'm going to do it to 2 people, 3 people, 3 times to 3 people, 4 times to 5 people. And then next thing you know, you just start building this up. And now you do that for 365 days. So that means you forgave 365 times. You were generous 365 times. You didn't judge somebody 365 times. And you pursued with sacrifice and service 365 times. Minimum. That's just once a day to one person. Can you imagine how different your relationship with that person will be? Oh, yeah, and pray for them. I forgot about praying. But imagine your relationship with this person will be different. What if it's your spouse? What if it's your kid? Think about that. Like, can your marriage really find a lot of healing? Can your parenting find a lot of healing? And your son blows up on you, your daughter blows up on you, your wife blows up on you, and then you were just generous to them, you forgave them, you pursued them with love, and you didn't judge them. That should be the mantra for the year. That is what I can't commit to all these things because everybody says this stuff, but guys, that should be the goal for the year. To live out as a disciple of Jesus. And that is how a true legacy gets started. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining this episode of the Revived Podcast. I'm sorry we didn't get into Matthew's account, but I forgot we had to finish up Luke's account. And everything else in between, I didn't really forget. I just said that because my brain's spinning 10,000 miles an hour, and I sound like that guy from that rap commercial from Walmart about all the gifts going blah, 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 Buster Rhymes right there. Anywho, thanks for joining us today. I hope you guys have a wonderful year, and thank you for supporting us. Head over to revivebrand.com/store to check out what we got going on. If it's not quite up yet, it's coming soon. The date in here in January is TBD, but follow us on social media and stay a part of our emails to find out, and the book is coming very soon as well. So start spreading the word. If you want in for free stuff, free books, free shirts, free sweatshirts, anything free, sign up and message us, email us, let us know, and I will give you guys free stuff, but something's going to have to come in return. But we can figure that out. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a good one.